Ladies and gentlegrams, the life of New York's night is ended by the light. Ray and Reason rebutted the RedBull raps with something light. AZ Chike had his mic reignite like a light, but despite straight strikes, no one could snipe and take flight as ferociously as Daylyt. You thought this was fake, right? And everyone would play nice with strays light as day, soft as clay. You could hang tight as we break down the way that Day writes and see what he's got to say, right? Because ladies and gentlegrams, this has been a long time coming. I'm talking the first day of the new year, 2025. Now, on a side note, if I sound a little fried in this video, it's because I got like 3 hours of sleep last night. So drop a like and subscribe just for the fact that my half-awake brain is still making sure to bring you guys these bars. Now, context. The ruler's back, January 1st, 2025. Too much West Coast delicking is what Joey had to say. And then we'd wait a couple days until he saw the light of day. I'm talking about Daylyt. Hi you. The response to the ruler's back, Joey's declarative statement, if that's a word. Declarative. I told you I'm tired. January 1st, the ruler's back. Joey declared he's the king of New York. There's too much West Coast delicking going on as a result of the moments Kendrick has created with Not Like Us, the Pop-Out Show, GNX, etc. Kendrick has yet to respond. Now, what's funny is it took him 17 days to respond to Drake's diss record push-ups, and every single one of those days that Kendrick was silent, we saw a tweet from academics acknowledging that Kendrick had yet to respond. However, it has been 138 days since Kendrick has not responded to Joey Bada on the first day of 2025, and I have yet to see a single DJ Academics tweet about it, except for the fact that his propaganda side page, Academics TV, had posted my thumbnail to call this beef fake. So I, of course, responded that Academics' dainty defamation daddy, the Drizzler, is more than welcome to hop in this quote-unquote fake rap beef if he pays his ghostwriters well enough, but he can't sue this time, right? Because apparently this rap battle is fake. So on a side note, go like that tweet so we can ratio Academics, and follow me on Twitter if you don't. I only have about 150 followers, alright? Kind of a loser on Twitter. It's at hiphophistory_, or just look up Rapaholics. Now, let's get back to the main event, alright? Daylyt a couple days later responds to Joey's song with Hi You, where he says that his mama told him to be nice, and that's exactly what he did. He kept it respectful. He reflected on how much love he has for the East Coast, how much love he receives on the East Coast, but warned Joey that the people over the bridge do not be dumb. Joey would respond with a 3-pack. Daylyt would respond with a song called You're, where he would insinuate that Joey had been a little too close to the freak-off pharaoh, Mr. Diddler. And I think that was the most humor we got in this entire battle so far. Don't forget, there's humor in the fact that Joey started this entire thing off seemingly looking for Kendrick to come out of the woodworks and do him the same way he did Drake. But instead, he's got the entire West Coast, like 10 plus rappers from the West Coast, going in on him, and he's taking them all on absolutely by himself. This is everything Drake wanted, or at least the narrative he tried to concoct with the whole 20v1 thing. This is a real 20v1 right here. And Joey's been carrying his weight between his RedBull freestyle and his track The Finals, a response to Ray Vaughn mainly, but still asking for the smoke from Kendrick. Joey has been put up against more West Coast rappers than we saw as features on the track list of GNX. AZ Chike, Mick Jenkins, Reason, Coyote, Ray Vaughn. I'm forgetting probably many, but now we have Daylyt, who warned us on Twitter that he would be dropping on Monday, and he came back with an absolute bomb, alright? So we're gonna break the entire track down front to back, including the music video. The song is called Word to Me Mother. Of course, remember on Daylyt's first response to Joey, Hi You, he started the song off saying, Mama told me be nice to him, my demeanor going right through them. Yeah, well, on this new track, he's anything but nice. I mean, the bars are nice, but the demeanor, I don't think it could get meaner. So the music video kicks off with a clip of none other than La Brianna, the Marilyn Monroe ho himself. And keep in mind, Daylyt had been rumored to have ghostwritten on Drake's diss track against Meek Mill back to back. Of course, that's not confirmed. Everything's alleged. Labry, don't hit me with a lawsuit. But yeah, Drake had actually hosted a rap battle himself, and during a press conference he had expressed he was excited to see what Daylyt would do.
Which battle are you looking forward to the most?
I'm sure everybody's excited to see what Daylyt's going to do, you know?
Now it says game 1 because remember, right? Joey's diss song was called The Finals, insinuating that diss song would be all it'd take to basically end this entire battle. This whole time, I really don't think that guy has been aware of what he's getting into, but respect to him, he's been holding his own. And Daylyt here is implying that no, the game has just started, right? The playoffs have just started. It's game 1. And he emphasizes this because along with this diss track, he actually previews 2 other tracks, possibly insinuating he has 2 more in the cut.
Freak,
And what's interesting is as he's fidgeting with the radio, you can notice how it lands on the number 97. That would be for the iconic New York hip-hop radio station, Hot 97, right? And then he previews a second record where the radio dial turns to 105. For the other iconic New York radio station, Power 105.1, right? That's where the Breakfast Club is hosted.
Right in Brooklyn, I'm just happy outside on the street, thought he was shooting.
But then, as Daylyt previews the third song in this little intro, he shifts the dial to 106, which is where it ends off at. And that's, of course, in reference to the California radio station, Power 106. Now, as far as the records he's previewing, the first one to me sounds like the banger. It sounds like Euphoria, almost. Everything from the beat to the, I guess you could call them ad-libs that he's doing here.
Freak, hot freak, where do I start here?
And then the second song he's previewing kind of sounds like Bobby Shmurda's Hot Guy song. At least the beat kind of sounds like a sample of that record.
Right in Brooklyn, I'm just happy outside on the street.
So already here alone, just in the intro, you get a lot of little Easter eggs, a lot of little hints that this is just the first of what's to come, and a lot of hidden imagery and signs. And apparently Daylyt actually directed this entire thing. If that's true, that's pretty crazy. But let's get into the actual track itself. So it kicks off like this.
With the soul I see. How you, teach king? You the king, you know you. Not in New York, I'm ready. Dot said the crown is heavy.
Obviously here he's interpolating Nas's legendary diss track Ether, right? F with your soul like ether, teach you the king, you know you not. Godson across the belly, I prove you lost already. Daylyt flips that to say, F with the soul, I see you, teach you the king, you know you not. In New York, I'm ready. Dot said the crown is heavy. Now he's saying F with the soul, I see you, because obviously a lot of this kicked off with the RedBull Cypher that Joey did recently, where Ab-Soul was featured in it, telling Joey that he put him in a sticky predicament. Because TDE, Daylyt, Ab-Soul, like they all have history with Joey, with Pro Era in general. So Joey obviously put Ab-Soul in a tough position on who to side with, right? But of course, he's going to be riding for TDE for the West Coast. And Daylyt also references, of course, Kendrick's iconic line from Euphoria where he says, Colin Labrie, no, I'm a selfish guy, the crown is heavy. I pray they're my real friends, if not, I'm YNW Melly. And Daylyt is echoing the same sentiments, right? Heavy is the head that wears the crown, even though Joey, TDE, Pro Era have a long history. Ab-Soul's in this sticky predicament. Daylyt is saying he's gunning for the crown, no matter what. Same thing with Kendrick, right? Cole and Labrie were his friends, but ultimately he's coming for their heads and for the crown. And of course, gunning for that crown comes with a lot of burden, a lot of pressure, a lot of sacrifices you gotta make, right? The crown is heavy. Daylyt is willing to make those sacrifices. And he emphasizes telling Joey, how dare you?
Like seriously, how dare you?
Then Daylyt goes on to shout out different areas within New York, ending with Brooklyn, where Joey actually grew up in.
Morpheus, Harlem, stand up. Best Star, stand up. Brooklyn, stand up.
And that laugh is just absolutely diabolical. And the first bar of this record is Daylyt telling Joey he's been sitting back watching the lyrical bloodbath that Joey has started.
I'll sit back and watch you disrespect what we built.
And notice how he pointed to TDE when he said, disrespect what we built, right? Because obviously Joey coming for the West Coast on the ruler's back was a disrespect to everything Kendrick, everything TDE has been working on leading up to the massive moments that we saw in 2024, which is obviously what Joey was referring to as too much West Coast D-licking. And Daylyt emphasizes that Joey kind of took a step back once he popped out talking crazy on the ruler's back, right? And even before the ruler's back, Joey wasn't a very active rapper for the last few years. So it was kind of crazy to see him pop out with that type of energy on the first day of the year and then not really address the dozens of rappers that actually responded to the ruler's back.
Popped and then skirted, now expect to be killed.
Then we get some wordplay on male private parts.
They think you going nuts, so it's cool, vasectomy dealt.
This is a nasty line, no pun intended, because obviously Joey was going nuts, right, at the beginning of the year. And a vasectomy is obviously when you do a little snip on your you-know-what. Daylyt here is saying Joey went nuts, and Daylyt will be the one to hand out the vasectomies, the one doing the snip, right? And Daylyt continues with the phallic imagery rapping.
You won't wreck with me? Totem pole on the mount, your death can't be healed.
Now, a totem pole, aside from playing on, the theme of vasectomies and going nuts, right? Because you have a pole here. A totem pole is actually a historical monument that carries many purposes, with one of them being shaming individuals for their wrongdoing. Daylyt here is saying you did wrong by trying to mess with me. There's no coming back from it. There's no redeeming yourself. And Daylyt emphasizes he's leagues beyond Joey.
God, why he beef with a giant like we equal defiant?
Then Daylyt references Joey's role on this power spinoff he was on, Raising Cain, rapping,
Hey, yo. Unique scar, think you can kill a king, them people is lying.
Now, this is an insanely layered bar. He rapped, unique scar, you think you can kill a king, well, the people is lying, Simba tell him. So again, Joey plays the character who goes by the nickname Unique on the show Raising Cain, right? In the show, he's actually left with a scar on his face from an attack, and aside from that, Scar is the name of one of the characters in The Lion King, right? The one who unalived his brother Mufasa, who was the king of the lions. So obviously when Joey says, think you can kill a king, the people is lying, he's not just saying the people are lying, he's also referencing lion, like the Lion King. Simba is another character within the Lion King, and ironically, J. Cole also referred to himself in a song as Young Simba. And J. Cole was another one who Joey Bada threw random shots at on his song Sorry Not Sorry, rapping, might delete later, but Joey won't, in reference to obviously J. Cole deleting his diss track that was on his project, Might Delete Later, that was against Kendrick Lamar. Then Daylyt makes a reference to Joey's connection to the frontlining pharaoh of the Freak-Offs, P. Diddler himself, rapping,
Cinderella, you hung out with the glass slipper. Hey, yo.
It is a play on words on Cinderella, but also glass happens to be another name for a substance that I don't know if I can mention on YouTube. But we know Diddy was accused of slipping some substances. I'm not going to go any further, but he's saying you hung out with the glass slipper. Cinderella, of course, had a glass slipper, but he's referencing the glass slipper, the guy who slips glass, into something I can't say here on YouTube. Then Daylyt lets Joey know that he's got 100 more in stock. Kendrick had 5 more in stock, Daylyt's got 100.
Clearly Steppo, I'm yearly prepped with 100 more. Show up with 100 more.
And as I record that part, Joey has already responded with a feature from Loaded Lux. Finally, someone is stepping in to help Joey defend the East Coast. This is no longer a 20v1, and no, I don't count CJ Fly's response. But drop a comment if you guys want to review Joey's new track. We'll keep going with this one though. Daylyt emphasizes he's not just better than Joey, he's better than both Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Drake and Dot debating, I'm waiting, but ahead of them all.
Now we get some hospital wordplay here.
My hurt, homie, like hospitals, I'm patient.
Of course, like a patient in a hospital, you go to a hospital when you're hurt. He's saying he's going to hurt Joey. He's going to become a patient. He's also saying he was patient himself in his response to Joey. And then we get a savage bar right here.
Line disgusting, time to dust them. We ain't friends, so the bullets come dimes a dozen.
Time to dust them. We ain't friends, so the bullets come a dime a dozen. This is in reference to the rapper, Dime a Dozen, who had been affiliated with Pro Era, Joey, and Pro Era's founder, Capital Steez, before he tragically took his life. And Dime a Dozen actually did an interview a couple years back where he had said Joey was kind of on some fake stuff, one day showing him love, one day kind of switching up on him, and had told him, you don't really have enough motion to work with me right now. You have the talent, but you don't have the motion. So obviously that's what Daylyt is referencing, saying, we ain't friends. These bullets come a dime a dozen. Then he goes on to rap,
you took light at the start of the summer, pipe down like the Mario Brothers.
Now, Daylyt was calling Joey out for taking the easy way out of dissing him by just basically making a bunch of puns on his name, Daylyt, right? It's a very easy name to build a bunch of wordplay off of. So Daylyt kind of mocks him by doing the same exact thing. You took light at the start of the summer, because obviously it's the start of the summer right now. Thank God it's the summer. And Joey was taking some light shots, right, on that RedBull Cypher. Now it's time for him to pipe down, like the Mario Brothers, who are obviously plumbers, and in the video game, they jump through a bunch of pipes. Then Daylyt references how bad CJ Fly's response was, rapping,
you should probably stop. Why? You know what comes after the body drop? Flies.
This is a double entendre, of course, because basically he's telling Joey he should stop before a million more West Coast rappers get on his head top, and the only one at that point who had defended him and dropped the track of their own was CJ Fly. CJ Fly's response obviously was not very good, and of course, when you have a bunch of trash, what do you get surrounding it? A bunch of flies. At the same time, when someone is unalived, a bunch of flies surround it. So basically he's saying, after we unalive you, Joey, in this battle, your buddy CJ Fly will come in to defend you, but his responses have been trash, aka there's flies surrounding it. Then he comes in with a bar I like a lot.
How can I out-rap you when the whole world know I can out-rap you?
Now this is what Kendrick should have said to Drake. How can I out-rap you when the whole world knows I can out-rap you? Like, this is going to be too easy for me, right? Obviously, I'm a more skilled MC. The entire world knows it. What do I even have to win here? This is too easy for me. how can I possibly outdo you in this battle when it's obvious I'm already a better performer than you? And Daylyt emphasizes this is what he has to do in order to win this battle.
Gotta come down to your level to slap you.
And then he references again the fact that Joey has been using the cheap angle of doing a bunch of wordplay off of Daylyt's actual name, and that it's basically a cheesy play.
Mediocre name flips, you play so cheesy. Okay, Joe, I'm on my J.O. easy.
So here you see Daylyt not only calling Joey out for doing name flips on Daylyt's name, but him now doing name flips on Joey's name, calling himself J.O. Easy. Instead of J-O-E-Y, it's J.O. Easy, right? It's too easy for him to defeat Joey, essentially. And what's funny is the footage at that point in the music video was also Daylyt with a bunch of the Griselda guys, who have been noticeably quiet throughout this entire little battle. Then Daylyt tells Joey the last thing he wants to hear.
Reply from Ken, oh I doubt Mark.
So yeah, basically it's not looking like we'll get a response from Kendrick in this entire battle. I'm sure once he drops new music, he will reference this the same way he did on Whacked Out Murals with Snoop Dogg and Lil Wayne. Is it worth him to concoct a full-fledged diss track against Joey? I don't think so. I mean, even Daylyt thinks that this is too easy of an opponent for him, right? And then we get, in my opinion, the best bar on the entire track when Daylyt raps.
You couldn't kill Kenny with South Park. That's a hood story.
This is a crazy play on words because obviously Ken is a nickname for Kendrick. And in the show, South Park, Kenny, the character, is someone who is constantly unalived. Almost every episode, he gets unalived. So Daylyt is saying here, you couldn't kill Kenny if it was literally Kenny from South Park. And ironically, Kendrick actually has a movie coming up with the creators of South Park in the summer of 2026. I believe it's titled Whitney Springs. And then Daylyt says that's a hood story, and this takes on also multiple meanings because the character Kenny in South Park is always seen wearing a hood. You actually can't even hear what the character says half the time, or majority of the time, because he's wearing a hood over his mouth. And a hood story, of course, is also someone who comes from an impoverished, disadvantaged situation, right? So he's saying this is a hood story, like you have the disadvantage against Kendrick. Then we get some more bars about the P. Diddy freakler.
Heard old boy was in your house, bubble jacket with tidy whities.
He was in Joey's house with tidy whities. And the same way Kendrick warned Drake on Euphoria rapping, I make music that'll electrify him. You make music that pacify him. I could double down on that line, but I'll spare you this time. That's random acts of kindness. Daylyt here is saying, I'm going to save the real Diddy stories for the next track. If you decide to respond to this, that's what you'll be getting on the next one.
We gon' save that for the second round.
And he emphasizes again, this is just a warning shot.
I ain't even tried yet, this the warm-up warning.
And then Daylyt does a little flip on his own name.
Daylyt coming ashore that morning, mother.
Then Daylyt goes on to emphasize that Kendrick, who has shouted Daylyt out multiple times, can attest to the fact that there's not just one Boogeyman, it's not just Kendrick. Daylyt is as lethal of a lyricist.
That didn't tell you it's two Boogeymans. The big three could attest to all the things that I've done.
And yeah, matter of fact, it's not just Kendrick, it's the entire big three, right? We saw Daylyt collaborate with J. Cole on their record Pie, which actually originally was an Ab-Soul and Daylyt song, which J. Cole ended up taking for his album and putting an entire verse on. And then as far as Labri, well, Daylyt showed us at the beginning of this record that Labri definitely respects Daylyt as a lyricist. So he's got love from the entire big three. Meanwhile, what does Joey have, right? Joey had actually said on a previous record that he thought the big three was him, J. Cole, and Kendrick. We haven't heard him on a track with anyone from the big three, I don't think ever in his career. Actually, scratch that. He was on One Train with Kendrick and A$AP Rocky and, you know, everyone else who was on One Train. But yeah, Daylyt is emphasizing he is superior, regardless of Joey calling him a zero.
You said I'm zero, oh, that's cool. I still come in front of the one.
Because, of course, what comes before one? Zero, right? Daylyt flips it to say if Joey is number one, he's zero. And he reminds Joey that, again, he is the boogeyman, and in Joey's hometown, he has left multiple rappers buried in rap battles.
Back to that Boogeyman bar, I done left hundreds of dead. I'm so much of a monster.
Then Daylyt raps,
you know how this gon' turn out, Joe Pesci, my motto.
And this is a flip that Joey had on his track The Finals against Ray Vaughn when he rapped, you ain't no Ray Liotta, because here Daylyt is making another Goodfellas reference, saying he embodies the spirit of Joe Pesci. Then Daylyt makes another reference to Joey's track The Finals, rapping,
finals the final destination, I'm death who follows.
And now Daylyt ends the track off with a very savage set of bars here. First questioning, you know, if this beef was all for attention, essentially.
How did you get all of this clout? What did you kids do?
Then he references Joey's fallout with Dime a Dozen once again, rapping,
split with Donovan, kept the chain, play for you kids crew.
Here he's saying split with Donovan, aka Dime a Dozen, kept the chain, play for you kids crew, but then he makes a horrible reference to the late Capital Steez rapping,
If the world knew what knew about you, they'd jump off a bridge too.
Of course, Capital Steez came up with Joey and was the founder of the Pro Era Collective and ended up at 19 years old tragically taking his life, jumping from the roof of the Cinematic Music Group headquarters. And essentially Daylyt here is implying that if the world knew what Capital Steez knew about you, they would do the same as he did. Now, that's a savage way to end off this song. And seemingly a warning of what Daylyt will expose about Joey if this continues further, which, I mean, again, Joey did just respond, so I'm assuming we'll hear something very soon from Daylyt once again. And the video ends off with Daylyt with a shovel in seemingly a graveyard walking away, and a message pops up saying, with great reward comes great risk, and with every great wrist is a Rolex. Timing will cost you. Warning. All in all, I hope this doesn't get too dark, but I do love what this is bringing to hip-hop, right? I mean, when have we seen so many different rappers dropping diss track after diss track? Today alone, I believe we've gotten at least 3 diss tracks. AZ, Chike, Daylyt, and now Joey with Loaded Lux on the same track. Hip-hop is alive. Do you guys think Kendrick will respond to this? I don't think so. I hope so, but I don't think so. But you know what will be interesting? If one of them can come with a Not Like Us, right? Joey especially, who has obviously put a lot of value on having commercial appeal in the past, would definitely greatly benefit from having a hit of his own right now, right? If he can come back with a New York anthem, the same way Kendrick did with Not Like Us, right? Like a core regional sounding hit. I mean, first of all, that was the first time we ever heard Kendrick on Mustard production, right? And that song alone united the entire West Coast. Think about what a New York version of that could do. And Joey obviously has also been teasing, trademarking the label name TDE East. And this is all in the name of friendly competition, right? I think Joey admires what Kendrick did for the West in the last year and wants to bring back that same energy to New York, to the East Coast, right? So hopefully he can. I mean, imagine we get a hit song from Joey out of this battle that sounds like an authentic New York summer hit. I mean, when was the last time we heard something like that, right? Do we have to go all the way back to like the G-Unit days, the 50 Cent era, to think of the last time we heard a New York sounding summer club hit? And I think that's the energy Joey needs to bring if he wants Kendrick to engage in this, right? Like, make something so big that Kendrick cannot ignore. As far as Daylyt, it sounds like he's already about to come, or he's prepared with a banger himself, as he previewed something at the beginning of this music video that to me sounds very reminiscent to Euphoria. All in all, I mean, this whole thing has just begun, right? Like, we're definitely still in game 1 right now. No matter what Joey said about this being the finals, it's far from over. So I'll definitely be here to break it all down. Let me know what you guys think so far. Who is up? Did Daylyt take this round over Joey? Did Ray Vaughn take it over both of them? Let me know in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one.